Your forwards back at D is Bennett Nicollet and Sam Clevin. Yes, YouTube. Same story. All right, Meade looking for Homstall. Minneapolis controls, trying to break out. And they find their way to neutral ice and their way into zone. Clevin back, gets hooked around. Nice little move there, and that goes high and over the net as Minneapolis makes a nice rush at it, but comes up empty-handed. Here comes Clevin through center ice, pushing it into zone, gets it chipped away from him, but he sticks with it on the far side. Turned over to Minneapolis, bodied off the puck slightly by Meade or Gilbert, can't tell from here, and that's played off as Minneapolis rushes in, gets one back, centered, nobody home. Homstall there on it, and LaRose picks it up at center ice. 3 Minneapolis players back, tries to dump one in off the shin pad of the defender. Good pressure there by Kramer. Comes across, pokes one in as Wilson pushes through, but turned over to Minneapolis and through neutral ice. Into the corner that I can't really see here, so but we do see the puck coming back. Kramer is getting bodied off the puck or away from closing on the puck, and not enough time there to get back on sides. So I hope you can hear me. We had a new app that we're working with and some new equipment from an audio perspective. So if anybody is listening in, maybe give a thumbs up if everything's working out all right. There's a face-off one to Kramer, worked its way back through Wilson, and Prentice now in on D. So LaRose, Kramer, and Brown are your forwards. Prentice and Wilson back. Puck stuck on the near side, a little out of my range. LaRose pushes one through, gets swarmed by Minneapolis. Kramer through. That is centered. Brown can't get to it, but is forechecking back, plays it off the far wall and into the red line there. Centered again by Minneapolis, but nobody home. And that one skips through and under the glove of Ellickson. I think we have Ellickson in goal. Is that right? Sorry, I missed that earlier. Charlie in goal. Down 1-0-1 here early. Minneapolis strikes first. New line in. We got Jeffers, Kurth, and Altschul are your forwards. Rotating 2 lines of defensemen, looks like, with Nicollet and Clavin back. Battled in there. Turned around at mid-ice is Nicollet. Nicollet does get across, dumps one in. That goes wide left. I think that was just a dump. Jeffers playing it on the near side. He is coupled in there with Kurth, and Minneapolis breaks out the other way. Nice little pass across, and not in, off a couple of pipes. Rattles 2 sets of pipes there early, and that will be iced. Boy, double banger there. I thought that might have been goal number 2 for Minneapolis, but waved off. And a 1 goal remains for Minneapolis. Meade on the draw. Minneapolis wins it. Flips that back behind the zone, working around behind the net, out to the D, back in to the red line. That gets flipped out by Prentice. Prentice getting another chance of it the other way. Minneapolis closes on it, though. That gets flipped out and out of zone by Gilbert. Good pressure there as Meade drives it in back behind the net. Good hustle in there, but gets closed on by Minneapolis. Minneapolis with a breakout to the blue line. Homstall, though, with pressure on the near side as Minneapolis tries to regroup with it. That gets flipped up right beneath us there and dumped back in and off sides. Fresh skaters in for the Trojans. LaRose, Brown, and Kramer. Nicollet and Clavin back. That gets flipped into zone forward as Kramer closes hard. Gets kind of juked back out. That gets flipped in and just out of zone as Nicollet couldn't quite hold that blue line. Kramer again right in front of us gets flipped into zone, but back to neutral ice for Minneapolis, and they have temporary numbers coming back this way. Bodied off, that was Clavin with the stop, and LaRoe is working his way forward. Bodies near side, and then the puck is left, and Minneapolis regroups, working their way out of zone through neutral ice. Gets dumped in. Clavin, Kramer in there. Kramer looks like he's going to turn that around, but he gets checked off that puck. Brown battling on the edge. Does flip it away, does scoot it out, and now it's a race to this puck. Kramer's on it, has some speed. Pretty good D there as that gets played off by Minneapolis. Another defended puck there. Flipped in as LaRose keeps chomping at it. Good series of saves there. That was Brown, who had two good flips on it. Couldn't quite it in. Good save there by Minneapolis. Is without his stick, so pressure here and a turnover would be key if they can get a puck on and out. And that gets flipped over, and Minneapolis now has a run at it the other way. Nicollet, however, crosses to break that up. Minneapolis regroups, gets the stick back in the goalie's hands. Neutral ice scrum here. Looks like it got kicked back in and iced by the Trojans. Good flurry there. Couldn't close on it. Jeffers on the draw. Altschul breaks out. He's in there with Kurth. Kurth now looking to play it off the near side. Tries to flip one forward, doesn't get all of it. That gets dumped back in by Minneapolis. Wilson now back, trying to put some pressure on Minneapolis. He skates free with it, however. And then just working around the outside. Minneapolis defense gets a piece of it, but that gets turned over and controlled by Wilson. Wilson looks for Kurth. Icing waved off, played by the goalie back to center ice. The Trojans looking for a move. Bodied there by Jeffers. Holds that back. Kurth gets pushed up into the boards, but holds his own as he's in the corner looking out for his D. Clavin flips one high and hard up and over the right side. Nicollet now on the far side. He flips one in. Stopped by Kurth. Kurth working his way back up the D. See if Clavin can stop this one near side and at least slows it down into the corner. Nicollet lingering back in case it pokes out Minneapolis' way. Some pushing and shoving on the near side. Minneapolis pushes free. Nicollet glides to the puck. Working his way out. Has Jeffers to Kurth. Turned back over to Minneapolis. And saved by Ellickson. Remains 1-0 here. Just about 7 minutes, about halfway through this one, or the first, I should say. Nicollet plays that, however, in his own zone to Minneapolis. Minneapolis working their way out. Homstall, near side. Works his way through, gets it into zone, but Minneapolis regroups to slow that progress down. Stays in zone, gets dumped back behind. Has pressure from Meade. Breakout centering pass there by Minneapolis. Turned over to Nicollet. Nicollet far side. Works his way across. High. Hard one up and over the top. This is high and up the head. Minneapolis skater goes down on the far side as Meade works his way. A little bit of pressure on the forecheck. That is cut off. Flipped in by Meade. Meade's all over the place here. Covering a lot of ground. As it gets worked around, Homstall now near side has a chance at it. That gets by him. As Minneapolis still struggles to break this one free. No real scoring chances for the Trojans, but they maintain pressure there. That gets dumped back in. Change of lines, at least for some of the Trojans, as Brown and Kramer are in along with Prentice. Good forecheck pressure here. Hope that turns into something. At this point, though, Minneapolis does break free, albeit temporarily, regrouped by Prentice. Prentice holds. He's going to try the other direction. Wilson then punches it back through. Has a little breakout move there as it gets chipped forward from LaRose to Kramer. High one up there. Brown keeps the stick down, I guess, which is good. Brown flips that one through. Nice little pass over to Wilson. Finds a little bit of space. Has a little give and go to Brown. Brown can't handle it in the middle, and Minneapolis has a breakout the other direction. Good retreat there for Wilson and gloved by Ellickson. That was heading high, but secured nonetheless. Sometimes those tip off the top of the glove and make them scary, but he gloves that with no problem. 6:02 remains in the first. Kramer on the draw, the full list of forwards in now with LaRose and Brown, and flipped around a lot of pressure there. Two good saves, I believe, there by Ellickson as that gets through, and just a little out of reach for the Trojans. Brown maybe looking for a break there, but they're going to wait through this. That gets slapped back in. Icing waved off, as that could have been played, I believe, by the Minneapolis player. Ref calls that off. That gets flipped back in by Brown, looking for Kramer on the near side. Good body by Kramer. Brown scoots in. Kramer, chance to get his hands free. That thing comes high, hard, and into the back of the net. And a nice little flip out here and breakout by Minneapolis with temporary numbers, but a good back check there. Evens things up. That gets dumped back behind the net. Brown looking for a shot, misses, pushes his guy up against the boards, and Nicollet finding some room, flips that out, likely icing as that's coming back with 4:48 left in the first and a fresh line of skaters for the Trojans. It remains 1-0, early goal just a minute or two in for Minneapolis. Jeffers, Kurth, and Altschul are your forwards. Wilson and Prentice back on D. That gets played to Prentice. Wilson tries to reverse, ends up giving it up on the crease there. Minneapolis can't put it in the back of the net, but had a nice little scoring chance there, stymied. And now we break free. That is Jeffers looking for Altschul. Jeffers comes back, works for it on the near side. Kurth to Wilson. That gets flipped up and iced. 4:15 now. 1 goal lead remains for Minneapolis. Jeffers back on the draw, flips that one back, and a play it himself has lead out to Prentice. Prentice to Kurth. Kurth hard, a crossing pass. Not quite to Altschul. Altschul finds Jeffers coming back. And back to Kurth on the far side. Can't play it. That gets stuck on the red line and dumped back in by Minneapolis. Prentice now to Wilson. Has Altschul with room on the near side. Ulchel pushing across the red line, does dump it in. Sounded like he got banged into the boards for his efforts. I couldn't quite see. And that gets hard off the backboard, but played back to Minneapolis with a centering pass. And Kurth plays it off the skate. Ulchel's going to dump that out to neutral ice, but try to play it himself, but it ends up on the stick of Minneapolis. Minneapolis regroups at center ice and dumps it back in. Oh, tough pass in the middle. Hits danger zone, but no big deal as Prentice shuts it down, looking for Gilbert. Gilbert putting a little pressure on the forecheck. Prentice again plays it off. Weird bounce off the corner there. Misread as Meade was trying to play it. Now we got Homstall. Homstall is going to carry this one in. We got kids staying on side. Homstall all the way around the far side, flips it back. That gets played in. Centering pass. Had Meade out front, couldn't quite play it off the crease. Now we're down to 2.5 in the first. And that gets played in. Clavin works his way up far side. Out of reach there as Nicollet tries to work his way through. That gets hard across. Has Homstall. Homstall working through the far side off the pad breaker. Still sitting up in front. Somebody looking to get a stick on it. And another save for Minneapolis. And at least even numbers coming back. And a hard shot and glove save for Ellickson. Just under 2 in the first. Good pressure there by Minneapolis. Good save. Ooh, dangerously up front for Minneapolis and a scrambling save for Ellickson there as that just kind of lingered off of that face-off. Scrum in the middle now. And Kramer trying to break his way out of the right. Has it up the left side. Finds his way through. Can't quite get his stick on it. Maybe just enough of that gets flipped in. Brown with a hard centering pass looking for LaRose. Maybe a little too much on that one to do anything with it. And now Minneapolis coming the other way. Brown stops that. Has a little room into the side. Working his way along the right side. Dangles his way in. Backhands in. And played into the belly. And another save there by Minneapolis. Good little back check there by Brown. Turns it over. Skates his way through. Across the blue line and gets a little backhander on. Forcing a save and at least a offensive zone draw here for Kramer. He's got Wilson out here and Prentice who could sling one in from the edges. Wilson does break on it. It's his way to Brown. Brown tries to get it back to Kramer. Does into the corner. Good forecheck pressure there. It lingers on the front of the ice. Or front of the crease. Nobody's there though. LaRose playing it out to Kramer. Nice little shot across and just too much on it there as Wilson retreats. Boys get back on side. It gets dumped in. 46 seconds left. Forecheck pressure. This line looks a little tired. They put a lot of effort in there, but it's probably time for them to get some breaks and not get burned back here. I'd take an icing at this point. Up to the wing, right side, and that off the side of the net, I think, and ends up hard into the boards with 8 seconds left. Kind of a marathon run here for this line of forwards, but they're going to finish this one out with 3-2-1 and the end of your first. At this point, feels a little closer to a 2-0 lead than a 1-1 type of game. They had one that rang 2 pites and popped out, which would put them up a couple. So we're kind of lucky to be in a 1-goal game here. Got to turn this thing around. Got plenty of opportunities. Their goalie's done a nice job. Jeffers, Kurth, and Altschul will start as your forwards. Nicollet and Clavin will be back. Minneapolis goalie getting out there in net. Jeffers pokes it forward. Minneapolis plays it out of their own zone. Good pressure there by Altschul. Turns it around, followed up by Jeffers, but Minneapolis breaks free of it. Nicollet under the far side, plays that back out, but Minneapolis is the first to that play. Hard. Nice check there by Jeffers. Turns this one around. It allows Nicollet to skate this one free. He does control it. That slides in and blocked by the Minneapolis goalie, but gets a shot on goal. Minneapolis pokes one free and has numbers. Nicollet doing a nice job of working his way back. That gets around and centered. Can't do anything with it. I got to bring you with me. Sorry. And now Altschul on the far side. Tries to scoot one through. Can't find its way in. That gets played off a backhand by Minneapolis. Nothing there as well, and a save for Ellickson. Saves are saves. That was offsides. That might be the softest roller that he's seen all day. Clavin into the edge, shuts that down, turn that around. And here comes Gilbert and Nicollet. Down below, now Minneapolis has numbers back with Clavin back. That's fired wide left and rattles around the other side. Clavin there in the far corner has a chance to play it out. That's going to get flipped and iced. Wilson and Prentice back on D. Of course, Ellickson's still in net. We got Meade, Gilbert, and Homstall are your forwards. Meade patiently trying to work his way through there. Gets doubled off the puck. And Minneapolis retains possession. That gets flipped out to the blue line. That gets tipped and goes wide left, but they had a chance at that one. Nice little lead pass up just out of the reach of Homstall, but that's waved off as Homstall is in a race to the puck, but played off by Minneapolis. Minneapolis up the near side there. They're going to regroup. That one actually gets directed back near own goal territory. Good hustle there by Meade on that forecheck, looking for some help. Nice little flipping pass up and over. Wilson finds its way through and over to a shooter from Minneapolis who pushes one off the pad of Ellickson. Now Wilson plays one up, looking for Homstall. Homstall gets his stick checked away. Minneapolis regroups. Played off the side, looking for a wraparound opportunity, and that is stymied by Prentice and pushed back by Wayzata and iced. Just shy of 3 minutes into this second period. Remains a 1-goal lead for Minneapolis, with Wayzata struggling to get any offense going at this point. Feels like a pretty even skate to this point. We got Kramer, Brown, and LaRose at forward. Nicollet and Clavin back at D. Stick work there in the middle. Gets kind of scrummed up. Minneapolis sort of pokes its way through. That gets played up high by Clavin. Flip forward and has LaRose. Has Kramer. Kramer trying to work his way back around. Ends up back on LaRose's stick. He flips one through. Two of those rejected back at him, but he still has a shot at it in the corner. That gets worked out. Kramer can't get his stick free. Power play Trojans early on. We got a hook as Kramer was on the doorstep looking to punch one in. And so we'll go man up here for, I believe, 2 minutes. At the, 3:38 mark of period 2. Fired hard in by Nicollet. Actually moved Kramer out there to maybe get him able to pull the trigger on one. Now Brown and LaRose working in the corner. Minneapolis probably willing to let this scrum happen and kill some time. And then now whiffs on it, but Nicollet there to control it. Has LaRose. LaRose with it. Brown breaks. Nothing there. Can't quite get his stick on it. Loops around and Minneapolis regroups to try to dump one out of zone here as they're trying to kill the remaining 120 in this power play. That does fire out. We'll get an icing out of this one. 10:42 left in the second. Fresh set of skaters to try to poke one in on the power play here as Minneapolis clings to a 1-goal lead and 1 minute and 20 seconds of a power play. Jeffers to Wilson. Wilson skates free into the slot. Rips one. Had a little room over the left shoulder there and just fires high. They did let him sort of cock the trigger there. Doesn't do much with it. Battle into the corner there as Jeffers wins that. That flips back out. That goes Wilson to Prentice. Chipped in. Flipped around. Jeffers with a fire, and that goes wide left or got deflected, not sure. That's played back. Not enough on that one as Minneapolis is going to punch that one out and iced. So that'll come back here. 9:51 left in the second. 29 seconds in the power play. As yet again a fresh set of forwards comes in to see if we can't level this one up. Meade, Homstall, and Gilbert. Homstall flips one across just out of reach of Gilbert. Homstall gets it back. Can't find it as Meade does regroup. He rips in and a glove save. So at least we forced a real save in a thing here. Real save and a face-off in zone. So 16 seconds remain. And hopefully another opportunity to punch one in. But Minneapolis wins this one and is content to kind of kill some time on the edge. That gets played out. Flipped in and glove. Ooh, off the glove as Gilbert whiffed on it. Nicollet came in, took a swipe at it. And we are even strength. As Meade doing his best to hold possession. That gets flipped out to Nicollet. A trickler comes across the crease, and Minneapolis now finds some momentum and pushed its way into zone, and I guess iced. Fresh skaters again as Wilson and Prentice come in on D. Kramer flanked by Brown and LaRose at forward with 9 minutes remaining in the first. LaRose to Kramer, but Minneapolis intercepts and is flipped it out. Nice little clearing pass as they have momentum on the left side. Wilson plays body there and shuts that down nicely as Brown flips it over, looking for LaRose on the far side. LaRose tries to flip one up to Kramer. Kramer trying to punch one through. Minneapolis defense doing a nice job of shutting some of those little breaks out, right? Those odd man advantages, and doing a good job shutting that down defensively as they play this one and turn it around. Good pressure there by Kramer. Minneapolis methodically kind of pulling their way out, getting Wayzata to move a little bit. Turned around there, misplayed off that side, but still controlled. If nothing more, that tired the Trojans out, chasing them around in their own zone, and no worse for the wear. And that gets flipped in, and forwards are changing with a little bit of space. Kramer did a nice job of holding things up there. Weird carom there, comes off. As Clavin plays it, back to Minneapolis. Back to Jeffers. Jeffers near side, can't quite see. Minneapolis breaks free with it, has it on the stick of a charging forward, but can't control it. And Clavin turns it over, plays it off, going to turn that around. He goes down to his knees, can't quite get that one out as Minneapolis plays it. Up to Nicollet. Nicollet, nice little pass up. Has a streaking. Kurth dumps that in. Nothing there. Takes a shot. And bodies in. Nothing into the corner there as Minneapolis scoots free with it. And it's overplayed here in Minneapolis. Now with room. Played off. Good hustle there by Wilson as he works his way back. Jeffers plays that one off the crease and has a little room through center ice. Gets tied up into the skates of Minneapolis, who dumps it back in. That gets flipped hard back off that other side of the ice and iced. 6:07. We're halfway through this one and change, and a one-goal lead remains for Minneapolis. Minneapolis having a mascot? I forget. Are they the Storm or something? The Storm. Mead on the draw. Out there with Gilbert Homstall. Homstall breaks free, looking to poke one through just off of that one. May have had a breakout opportunity there, but Minneapolis controls. Buried in the corner. As that goes wide left. Homstall on the far side, working its way up. Flipping across. That gets, I think that was shooting for his wing counterpart, but gets caught up in his center skates and gets flipped out. Overridden there and misplayed a couple times there as the boys had a chance to poke one free. Now we have one in the middle. Working up the side. Mead controls in the corner. I don't know if he had anybody or what he was looking there, but didn't have something as Clavin plays that back in. Now Mead controls on the near side. He reverses. Flips one in near the crease, nothing there. And Minneapolis with space as that gets played and iced. Kramer, Brown, and LaRose will be your forwards, along with Nicollet and Clavin. Nicollet, hard off the ice. There's a loose puck on the crease as that Clavin shot drive from the left side hits the goaltender right in the chest pad. And it did hit the ice for a second. He did a nice job of covering that one up. And we're going to take another face-off. That gets flipped back. Clavin flies another one in, and again off the chest pad and saved by the goalie. .458. Deja vu as we'll do this a third time. At least starts a little differently as Brown breaks in. Kramer goes down. Kramer just trying to get his hands free on the inside there. Nothing there as Brown scoots by it. And that gets flipped in by Nicollet, but out of, or offsides, with 4:44 remaining. Nice pass across as Minneapolis works their way in. That is a big rebound given and turned around by Nicollet. Nicollet with a little bit of space just powers one through a poke check, reverses out, trying to get his hands free. Works his way across to Kramer. Kramer rips one in the 5-hole and covered. .416 remain. Doing shots by chance or not? Where are we at shots wise? Does it tell you? Maybe it doesn't say there. The line of Jeffers, Altschul, and Homstall, I believe, are in. Can't see in the corner. Wilson and Prentice back on D. Minneapolis breaks one free and has a little bit of space. Not numbers, but works his way down. Good back check there by Wilson. Turns that around as Jeffers trying to get that through. Poke free. Good pressure there by Jeffers. And that gets flipped in by Altschul looking for a break as Homstall jumps in. Flipped out. Prentice. That gets played out in front. Oh, and goes wide left off of a rebound as the boys had a little hack at it. Turned, flipped, and centered. And Minneapolis turns this around. Wilson now poking this through near side. Has Gilbert. Gilbert has Homstall. Homstall carries it into zone. Carries it just enough. Going to flip one into Gilbert. Gilbert can't get a stick on it. Gets shoved into the near side boards. And Minneapolis trying to scoot one free. Homstall recovers. And another save by Minneapolis. They're putting more pressure on. We seem to be pegging him literally in the chest pad. So maybe we got a little more creative with hitting some edges on these shots. But at the end of the day, we're putting some pressure on him, and he's got a lot of saves. What's that? Fast chest, yeah. That is hard to get around a fast chest goalie. All right, fire up top. That gets wide left as Clavin up from the point. Boys cracking in on the crease. You know, good shift here for these guys. They're putting some pressure on, but at some point we've got to put one in the back of the net, or it just doesn't matter as Clavin flips another one in. That is deflected back into the net or into the boards. And just hops over Nicolet's stick. And Minneapolis is racing for this one. Clavin bodies him off. Minneapolis regroups. Homstall holds up really nicely there. That probably could have either been a back or could have just timed it. Oh, boy, that was dangerous as well. All right. We got a goalie stick gone. Goalie's got his stick back. Nicollet working around the right side. Finds his way just clear. And again, a save by Minneapolis as he's looking for the near post and shut down by Minneapolis goalie. Minneapolis working their way out. Gets back. Clavin trying to get to his strong side of his stick, but goes down a little out of balance. And Minneapolis now has numbers with a lead pass up. Stick on the ice. Minneapolis regroups, centers, trying to find something back behind the net as Clavin plays that up and iced. maybe a good icing there. I think boys were winded. We'll take this defensive zone draw with 1:11 left, but at least a fresh set of skaters. Kramer, Brown, LaRose are your forwards. Wilson, Prentice out in front of Ellickson in goal. Kramer goes down again. He's been down a lot. I wonder about skates or sharpness a little bit. Nicely played out there by Wilson as that puck gives up a rebound, sits on the crease for a second. Now the boys are trying to get it out. Wilson battles behind. Minneapolis regroups near side, trying to jam it in. Doubled up there, and Wilson tries to play it out. Has Brown on the far side. Brown with some space, working his way up. Tries to dangle up, can't. Nicely played there by the defense. Minneapolis defense has been really solid on anything trying to poke through, and we've had some chances around the crease and some drives in from defense, but we've not had breakaway opportunities produce any meaningful shot on goal. That Kramer shot maybe took a stick out of the hands of the defender. Nice pass across, leads up. As Prentice is there. Wraparound centering at least tried, as that is the end of the second. Not a wild scoring spree here as we remain 1-0. The lone goal in this game came in the first minute or two, I forget exactly, by Minneapolis, and it's been a goalie clinic ever since then with several saves on each side. Coach Nicollet, Coach LaRose, Coach see Homstall over there trying to dial up something that's going to find the back of the net here in the third. So far, it's been a pretty clean skate. I think we've seen one penalty, not a lot of other physical action. There's been a few good checks and some body off the puck, but nothing dramatic, nothing. We're going to kick this one off with Altschul and Kurth on either side of Jeffers taking this draw. Clavin and Nicollet out in front of Ellickson on D. Little beastie sabotage playing over the loudspeakers, speaking a bit to Minneapolis would like to sabotage this first district game for the Trojans, who are pretty excited about this season. Now they just got to find a way to get to the back of the net here with 14 minutes and change. Flipped into zone for Minneapolis. Clavin bodies up against the boards on the far side. Pinned in, trying to kick it free is Kurth in there. Kurth does get it free. Flips that one hard across, right on the stick of Altschul. Can't quite handle it. That gets turned around. We're going to try again as Clavin misses. Not enough English on that one, and an icing as we'll get fresh skaters in again. Wilson and Prentice will be your defenders. Gilbert and Homstall helping out Meade at center. Meade can't quite get it. Hits the ground for Minneapolis. They get a shot at it, but can't quite deal it. Flips up into the air. And the Trojans now are trying to push it through their zone. Minneapolis plays it, however, and has a skate out with it on the far side. And that gets flipped forward. Now Minneapolis up the far side. has a little momentum. Into the corner it goes. Wilson bodies into that corner. Trojans trying to get it out. Get it to neutral ice. Forecheck pressure there by Gilbert. And offsides for Minneapolis. Fresh forwards for Wayzata. Kramer comes in to take this draw at center ice with LaRose and Brown. Wilson and Prentice will remain in as your defenders. That gets pushed through. Kramer with good pressure does get that and gloved by the Minneapolis goalie. So offensive zone draw with 13:27 remaining here. Flip back to Wilson. Wilson regroups. That finds its way all the way through, but wide to the right. Good work there by Kramer's. Kramer's bodying on the puck there. Gets tied up by Minneapolis, doing a nice job. Works his way through. Brown skates it, LaRose skates it forward. Looking for Brown. Nothing there, but Brown turns it around. Works the blue line nicely there. That gets deflected and saved as Brown avoided that onside. Does skate it up the right side and puts one on goal with 12:58 remaining. And we got new defensemen in Nicollet and Clavin. Nothing doing there as Minneapolis wins this one. Tries to regroup. Had Clavin cocking the hammer out there. Brown chops at one on the crease. And another good save for Minneapolis as that got controlled back behind. And Minneapolis goalie remains hot, shutting this Trojan offense down. Minneapolis controls again. Brown pressuring. Now Nicollet trying to shut down the near side. And Minneapolis with a nice breakout. Clavin, however, on the near side gets it. LaRose fights his way back. Brown now looking for a little forecheck himself as that gets scooted through and gloved by Kramer. Kramer, through a couple of defenders, finds his way into the far corner. Just looking to find his way free. Not going to get it done easily. Looking for Nicollet. Dabbling his way through and finds a streaking Minneapolis player into the far side. Worked off that puck is Nicollet, and that will be iced coming the other way. Nope, not iced. What's that? Defenseman did not play it. Tried to get an icing there, didn't get it. And the Trojans pressure at center ice. Minneapolis turns around, dabbling up the far side. Nicollet with a stick check away finds Kurth. Kurth to Jeffers. Kurth got, I think, just enough of a skate there. Couldn't quite hang on to the blue line and finds himself offsides. And we'll slow this one down and take another draw with 11:37 left with Jeffers on the dot. Jeffers pokes that into zone, but Minneapolis plays it. Near side action, can't quite see. That gets played over, and Kurth is there. He is on it. Plays it off. Now Jeffers into the corner. Scooted out to Minneapolis. And gets played back in by Ulchel. Ulchel to Jeffers. Jeffers around the far side. Looking for Wilson, who can't quite get it. Dangerously across the center of the zone, but nothing there. And a good lead pass to Minneapolis, and that shot goes wide left into the corner. But right back to a Minneapolis skater. Now reverse back around. Looking for Jeffers up high. And a fluttering puck just gets iced. Haven't really figured out the angles or the pace as we are trying to dump pucks out. We've had a lot of icing today. Fresh forwards here. Nicollet with the puck, working his way into zone on his own, gets bodied off. That ends up off the blocker with a nice shot on as that gets to Jeffers. Turned over as Minneapolis skates free with it. Not sure what happened there. Offsides. Was he offsides on himself? He just skated across and didn't bring the puck with him. Now Meade, Jeffers, and Homstall. If we have somebody go down. 10 minutes left. Minneapolis does push it into zone. Near side action. Poke free, just out of reach, but Nicollet plays it far side. Ooh. Played off, Meade hustling back. Homstall turns, fires. He's low, he's down early. I mean, the boys are going to have to find something in the top corner, and we haven't really pushed anything up there other than a few pucks up and over the net. So at some point, someone's going to have to put one into a corner if we get into striking distance here to try to find a way around this goalie. He's done a nice job today of shutting everything we've thrown at him today down with 9:23 left. Wilson flips that through. Could not get that through. And a breakaway opportunity here for Minneapolis. Great save for Ellickson as they try to center it back, and the boys get back. Really good scoring chance there. Shut down by Ellickson. Pressure remains, however. That gets flipped around and covered. So defensive zone draw here. The boys desperately need to punch one out. Create a little offense of their zone with 8:54 left in the third. Kramer wins that, but Minneapolis takes control back behind the net. Round to the defenseman. Deflection shot goes wide. I believe Wilson in the corner pushes one through. Looking for Brown. Finds Kramer. Kramer trying to get his hands free. Looking for LaRose. LaRose goes wide left. Desperately need to get one on net here and put a little real pressure on. Maybe one that's not on the ice. And we're going to draw a power play. So we're going to get 2 minutes of this remaining 8:21 with an advantage. What did we get in the corner there? I didn't see. So we got a tripping and 2-minute penalty with 8:21 remains and a 1-goal lead for Wayzata. Gilbert, Altschul, and Kurth turned over to Minneapolis. Needed to get that back to the D and try to get that. Dangerously out in front there as that came hard, carrying off the boards. Now we got a lead pass beautifully out to Kurth. Kurth's going to dump that in and covered. A quick whistle there as the goalie covers, and we'll get a defensive zone draw. Kramer, Brown, LaRose come in. Kramer. Ooh. Nicollet. Just off target here today. Up top, Nicollet. Slapper gets to the back of the net. And Trojans finally put one in on what has been a very, very hot Minneapolis goalie. At the 7:19 mark of the third period, the Trojans draw their first blood, and we got a 1-1 tie with Minneapolis here. And we're all even strength as there's a battle for the puck at center ice. Minneapolis works that through. Nicollet, who is our goal scorer. That was a Nicollet goal from Kramer, I believe, at the 7:21 mark of the third. Meade now in here working as he does. Finds its way back to Jeffers. Jeffers going to push into zone. Left side for Homstall. Blocker pad save. Gives up a big rebound. Gets played off by Prentice. Prentice dumps that in. And good forecheck pressure here by Jeffers. That gets back to Wilson. Wilson flips a high one. Played with the hand off of Minneapolis, and that will be iced. And we got 6:49 remaining. A tied game as we got defenseman Bennett Nicollet flips one in from center from Kramer. Meade on the draw. Minneapolis controls. We haven't won a ton of faceoffs either. I'm not keeping track, but Homstall off his skates on the near side. That gets played back, but he finds his way back into the play. And good hustle around the far side as Minneapolis struggling to get this one out. Does pin it back again. Persistence out of that player, though, finally. Nope, doesn't. As Homstall comes around. Has his defenseman up top looking for Wilson. Wilson probably had another defenseman pass over here and a more open shot for Prentice on the near side. As Meade gets taken off his feet, pops right back up and gets into the body of the defender. But scoots free. Zone held near side temporarily. But now Minneapolis has it out of the reach of a streaking forward up the other side. Bodied into the corner there as Wilson gets physical. And Minneapolis finds one high, is what we've been talking about early on. Finds one up and over the left shoulder of Ellickson. And a goal lead regained by Minneapolis. At 9:14 in the third. So we got 5 minutes and change left, folks, to find our way back into this one as the score was just recently leveled up. Nicollet flips it through, nobody home. Scrum on the near side. Finds its way across. Kurth dangling, trying to scoot one through. Can't. Nicollet has a chance to play it. Has a bit of pressure here and gets picked, pocketed, and blocked and saved. And saved again. Another good scoring chance that could have extended this to a 2-goal lead for Minneapolis. Finally gets a gracious whistle. Not sure where that puck was sitting, but it was in danger. And we got 5 minutes and 6 seconds to try to level this thing up. Minneapolis controls to a defenseman, dumped in. Brown looking for LaRose on the near side. Finds its way to Kramer. Brown tries to poke it through. Minneapolis shuts that down again. Defensively strong in that backside where we've struggled to get much going. Prentice to Kramer. Kramer just dangles long enough to get a stick from Minneapolis. Couldn't get that big shot off, and 4 minutes left as Minneapolis just offsides. Meade on the draw, won by Minneapolis, flipped into zone. Nicollet to play it. Homstall looking for Jeffers, just can't quite get through that Minneapolis D, who breaks that up nicely. That gets flipped forward by Prentice through Jeffers. Meade pins him up against the boards on the far side. A four-man scrum. Minneapolis probably pretty content letting some time click off the clock here. Finally punches one free, and Minneapolis controls. Homstall does a nice job of creating a turnover and centering. Overrun there by Nicollet, but he regroups. Nicollet dumps that back in. There's another centering pass. Jeffers out of reach, and again closed on quickly by Minneapolis defense. Wilson dumps, has Homstall into the far corner. Homstall looking for Meade, not enough on it. Minneapolis turns it around. Nicollet breaks on it, and another breakaway here for Minneapolis, and nicely played away by Nicollet as he recovers. Just 2 minutes left here, or 2 minutes and 40 seconds left here, and time running out on the Trojans. After we pull a goalie here at some point? On us. All right, Wayzata's going to get an opportunity to level this one up. We're going to have much of the remaining game, 2 of the 2 minutes and 20 seconds to figure this out and level this score. All right, working with a 2-man advantage here. And again, Minneapolis controls the draw, which doesn't help. Zone held here. And that's dumped in. Kramer with speed on the far edge. Good. Played off is Homstall. Homstall out to Wilson. Wilson dumps that in. Flipped and scored by Brown. That is Brown from Wilson at the 13 and 4 second mark of the third to level this thing up. That wipes the penalty. We'll play even here in a tie game with just under 2 minutes left. Fresh defenseman in. Kramer on the draw with Brown. Kramer's got something wrong with his skates. And here comes Prentice. Prentice up the near side. Can't quite handle it. Pass. Brown comes in. Brown takes a shot. Kramer with a high flipping puck into the nets. Sudden bit of life for the Trojans here. So we're in a 2-2 tie with just 1:29 left in the third. Kramer looking back, has Prentice, hopefully cocked and ready. That goes over to LaRose. Back, Prentice. That gets flipped in, looking for some deflection. Has Kramer back. Kramer of a hard high one. Nothing there. That gets back out. That gets flipped in as That's coming all the way out and is iced. So that'll bring it back down. We're going to get another offensive zone draw with just 1 minute and 8 seconds left. Some good pressure there. A patented rocket by Kramer just misses there off the left slot. But he's back on the dot here. He's got his defenseman behind him. A big win here would be good and get a couple of shots here. It doesn't, though. Minneapolis controls. Brown, or at least into a scrum, and now they control and off the other direction. And that gets played into the far side. Andrew breaks on it nicely. That gets flipped in. A sweep to the back corner. Just about misplayed there by Ellickson, but he does end up covering it. We have 50 seconds remaining here, and some fresh skaters for the Trojans as Meade, Jeffers, and Homstall are in. Nicollet played around, centered. Minneapolis off the slot. That gets flipped around back behind the net dangerously. 30 seconds left. Boys need to break one out. Has Ari up front at center ice. Plays it behind him. Can't quite control. And Minneapolis dumps it back in. Now Nicollet flips one up. That is spinning just enough to come to a stop as Homstall carries himself in. Flips around. Works his way in, and that goes high off the blocker there. Had a pass across the middle with an open forward. That gets out to Homstall. Nicollet in and into the belly of the goalie. And so we got a fresh crew in. We may get one win and one shot at this thing to break the tie. Otherwise, this one is all but over. And that is going to be it as that gets buried in a 2-2 tie. And that is it. I hope this first broadcast worked. I'm going to shut down here, and we'll see here.